Our councillor Rippers. Sorry, Councillor Hillary.
Thank you, Chair. Mine's just a general comment to yourself and planning people. With 681 documents to look at, is it planned that there would be a full briefing for all councillors at some time in the future? This isn't a normal planning application in the usual sense of the word. It's going to be ongoing for a long time. And I do think that there'll be a lot of questions arising as the whole scheme develops. So I wondered if it was thought of, or if it could be thought of, that we involve more councillors, seeing as they will represent different parts which will all be affected.
Every councillor has access to all applications that are coming before planning. I think what we might do, I know we all do training with additional planning, is it could be, we can let every member know where the access point is. We've already done it, haven't we? We have a little board as well, don't we? Do you want to explain further? But all councillors have access to it, councillor.
Thanks, Chair. I think you're referring to the planning portal, and you have the opportunity to look at plans. But I think that your question is a bit broader. Yeah. And there is a process ongoing, notwithstanding what we've been discussing today, with our director of David Sandy anyway, head engineer, with which I've contributed to, where and indeed members of the Green Party have contributed to ask specific questions of Northumbrian Water and the EA. It's not a direct challenge to them, it's just an opportunity to better understand their thinking process. We're not challenging them back because they're obviously entitled to have a view, and they do when they comment back to us. But it's just to better understand that process to go through. So as a result of those questions being answered, which I anticipate fairly soon, the invite will be from somebody from the EA and NWL to come and talk to a broad section of membership, so they can all better understand how they go through their process. It's not a direct challenge to them, it's an understanding process. But we can keep you involved in that.
So I saw another hand somewhere. Yes, councillor.
Thank you, Chair. It's very rare, obviously, for the infrastructure to go in first, and the road. Could I ask, is it going to be to the full construction? Will it be actually with the wearing course on? Is that something I know there's a heck of a lot of drawings?
Very similar point I put to Mr. Coates an hour before the meeting.
The developers. Yes.
Yes, I know, mate. Yes.
Sorry. So Jan Smith from Helen's Land, yes, south of that specific point, the road will be constructed to full extent as wear and course, so we would secured money through Homes England, Homes England committed over £60 million, 43 million specifically to do with infrastructure, so that we can do all of that work up front, and you're right, it's very rare that that's provided up front.
Yeah, it is, because you can have a lot of construction traffic, obviously, on that road, and with the ways of low loaders and then tracked machinery, that could potentially damage the road. So how is that covered for future? Because, well, I would presume, tell me if I'm wrong, but the council would not adopt those roads until they were because they're obviously going to be damaged.
Yeah, you're perfectly right, councillor. The council would not take on any site or any public liabilities unless they came up with a specification required.
Just a second question then. The surface water, is that going to attenuation tanks on site? What's
The 15 subs
yes.
identified on the site.
Right.
which is
With a capacity of the,
Yes, essentially, what we end up with is agricultural sort of runoff. So the normal runoff you get from those agricultural fields, we attenuate to a point at which you still get an agricultural runoff, even in a heavy sort of downpour scenario. So we would have to look at storms in a 1 in 100 year scenario and provide enough attenuation to cope with that situation.
Thank you very much. Can we go back to officers' questions? Thank you, sir. Councillor Robinson.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I'll just slow down.
Well,
Just to go through my,
that is the stage we're at.
excellent. I am going to be voting against this scheme for the following reasons, which I've made some notes on, so I'll be as quick as I can. I like that you keep going back to Northumbrian Water and asking again and again and again. It strikes me that we've probably been asking this question for 35 years since it became privatised. And it also strikes me that if they're at 96% capacity now, and this the local plan that we're working off now has been in fruition for at least 10 years, and it must have been started at least 10 years ago, this plan.
Just a correction, Councillor Robinson, no, the local plan has been adopted.
That didn't say adopted, in work in progress.
So the adoption process, which is what we work on, that was inspected by the government inspector. I can't give the exact date. About 18 months, 2 years ago.
Even with that, they still know where we want to build. The local plan has been a public document, even as a document that was up for consultation and would have gone to Northumbrian Water as a consultation. Because all the Tories adopted the Labour local plan. Well, that was the whole point of this thing. So, my point is, Northumbrian Water have been in charge of this waterworks for 35 years. Now, if they can't get that thing up to scratch for 35 years, why are we taking it their word that they're going to do it in the next 2 or the next 3? I think we're being very, very naive here.
Because they have to.
No, they don't have to.
They do.
They don't have to. They just pay a fine. Thames Water just pay a fine. They go bust. They just go bust. Now, if you want to be compliant as a local planning authority, and I like how Mr. Coates writes out in his entire document that we're a competent authority, why don't we start showing some competency here? It is our job to look after. With choice? Absolutely not. Why don't we start showing some competence? I'm talking to you as members, I'm not talking to the officers. I'm talking to you. Show some competency.
Sorry, Councillor, look. The political argument now is for another place.
It isn't. It's now. It is planning that's going to affect this entire town.
Right.
Where else do you want me to voice this?
You are against the application, that's fine. Are you removing
I'm giving you the reasons.
Are you removing something now about this?
I will be, but I give you the reasons because Mr. Coates said that at the beginning of the meeting, Mr. Erickson said,
Well,
we need to
stop the political
reasons.
argument and give us your reasons.
I'm trying to give my reasons, but Councillor McCullum interrupted me. So, last year, to prove that point, there were over 550 illegal discharges into the Skirn. So we know that they're not delivering. It's absolute bull, but we can't. Now then, if you want to talk about the local plan, which we also, thank you for bringing that up, we have to go by the local plan. As I was stepping off point, there's no affordable housing. Right, end of show. There's no affordable housing. It's in our local plan. We have to provide the local. We have to provide affordable housing. Okay? That's another excuse. I'm not doing it. Material matters. Trees. BS 5837. Material matter. Veteran trees are the most precious trees in our landscape. There are a high number of highlighted veteran trees across this scheme. 3 of them are up for removal. That is absolutely, categorically not done in the arboricultural world. It is absolutely shocking environmental devastation. You do not remove veteran trees. And another number of them have been highlighted for being tampered with. It's just not on. It's a material consideration. It is completely against the British standard and therefore null and void. So I move that this is a rejected application.
Thank you. Is that seconded?
Seconded.
Councillor Lee.
Thank you, Chair. As you probably realise, this application doesn't sit well on my shoulders because of the sewage problems. No doubt you don't have to tell you that. We've heard from a very ex-professional Northern Water his concern, both in this application and the previous one. I have written David Stanley, as this court knows, because we did agree at the last meeting that he would be permitted to attend a meeting with the council in front of Northern Water. I'm waiting for a letter from David Stanley to say yea or nay.
I'm sorry, Councillor, with the previous arrangements you have with officers, the arrangements you have with officers for meetings and that are irrelevant at this time. Please keep the application.
Well, what I'm
And you're not. Don't wander off or we'll just cut you off again.
hang on, just be patient, for goodness sake. What I'm trying to say to you is not to express my concern between professional expertise and with no disrespect our planning officers who, like ourselves, have more experience than we have, but none of us on this side have probably got nothing at all. We listened to the advice from Northumbrian Waters on this rather impressive document which David has provided. I've been on this council long enough to sit and read and listen to many planning applications, and virtually every other one will complain about sewage problems and drainage problems. Sometimes photographs which were issued on there. Now we've already heard this morning that the local ward councillor is talking about flooding in Daverdale. We've had a comment from Environment Agency that they're not particularly happy. We've had a very good point, an extremely good point raised by Councillor Durham, where
We're talking about the road, we're not talking about houses at this present moment in time. We have information from Northumbrian Water Authority and from the Highways Department, and I think we're just going round and round in circles, so I'm going with recommendation.
That's seconded. Councillor McConnell?
Yes, thank you, Chair. I'd like to second the recommendation as was set out in the email version that has been circulated to Council now, just for Mr. Dalton's records. So to replace the top of page 65, I think the issues that have been raised have been adequately dealt with, and certainly with regards to sewage, which has been the overriding topic yet again of this discussion, we have discharged our duty, pun intended, as a local planning authority. We have checked, we have double checked. We are undertaking separate discussions with Northumbrian Water and Environment Agency to tackle this. The developer is certainly aware of the discussions that have been had, and I'm sure will abide by condition 81, which addresses Councillor Holloway's concern, and as Mr. O'Brien set out, provides a backstop with regards to a water framework directive. In looking at the application further, members will note that the concerns raised by Councillor Toms regarding connectivity to public transport, there is provision made in the S106 agreement for a half-hourly service for a certain period of time. Obviously, the wider context of bus services is a topic that is of concern to myself and many others around this table. That is an ongoing discussion out within this application, but certainly this money in the S106 secures that service directly for the application site. Let me think. With regards to Councillor Durham's concerns, I know Mr. Howson did a fantastic job of explaining the issues and explaining the breaker point in the middle of the spine road, certainly until the Whitehorse Junction has been improved. I understand fully that this does not sit well with colleagues. It's not an easy application, certainly because we're not necessarily dealing with reserved matters at this point.